Hello, Todd Shank here with Premier FPL, bringing the Gameweek 7 FPL tips. Uh, so this week, a few things that I want to discuss are starting out with transfers in and out, some of the top transfers in and out, followed by looking at finding the enablers. I'm going to be taking a look at some of the top 9 players, so 3 from each position from defender to forward, that will help you to fit in some of the premium players, and then wrapping up with the look at some captaincy picks and then looking ahead. So starting out here, as you can see, have pulled up the top transfers in for this week as well as out. Top being Abraham, who, if you look at Chelsea, I think this is a great one. Both Abraham and Mount. Chelsea's fixtures coming up look really great all the way up through basically till the beginning of December, and even a lot of these in here. I think City away is going to definitely be the toughest one, but outside of that, a lot of really great fixtures basically all the way through even until, end of January. So, always have the chance to see what's going on here against Tottenham and Arsenal as far as their form's going, but otherwise, definitely a great run of fixtures for Abraham and Mount. De Bruyne is second here, and again, double-digit points here in 3 of the weeks. The only one where he's scored, his worst week was against Norwich in their loss, where he only played for 33 minutes. So against Everton, I know they have it marked as a red, but I think that they should have a good fixture there all the way up through until you hit middle of November against Liverpool. So De Bruyne is a great pick. Otamendi, I think the main thing there is fixtures looking ahead. I think the big reason here while he's being brought in is his 15 points here at 5.4. He has gone up to 5.5. His ownership is up to 5.9%. So I think the main thing is a lot of people are looking at this goal and assist in that 8-goal match against Watford. He is a good one. 5.5 isn't a bad price point either to be able to get in a City defender. I think a lot of people are hoping that they can keep him some clean sheets in these upcoming fixtures as well. Lundstrom, obviously at 4.4 and rising, he is great value considering a lot of his underlying statistics, and already has double point hauls this season. Top players out. Sterling, I think the big thing there is not playing, but I don't think that's going to be a lasting thing. And again, Sterling is one of those players that you really need to set and forget him. Now, it's a tough one. I'm planning to keep him at least for now. See what he's looking like after the after the next international break. But I think a lot of people are moving Sterling out to get in Aguero, who definitely a top captaincy pick. Rashford looks like he's out injured. I think he's going to be out longer. I don't think he's going to play this week. I think he's been out for a while. Dean has not returned the points people are looking for. Zinchenko, possibility of rotation with Mendy returning. And then Mane is an interesting one. I'm not really sure why people are dropping him. The only thing I can think is that he only scored 2 points against Chelsea. So people are, I think this season it seems like a lot of people are jumping on and off of players in that, a lot of those premium players there. So, okay. So this week I want to take a look at being able to find the enablers. So looking at the players who, again, this is the rules that I set up for this are for forwards and midfield, they need to be under 6.0. And for defenders, they need to be 4.5. So I should say not under, but 6.0 or less. And then for defenders, need to be 4.5 or less in their cost. So starting out here with defenders, I did take a look at some of the underlying statistics to try to get a better idea of who to pick, and also trying to look at some more differential sort of picks as well, since I know so with my rules here, it does rule out the likes of Peters. Um, Now, these are not hard and fast rules. You can go with who you want, but I think some of the main things are trying to keep the lower price points for, especially moving back to keeping lower priced defenders, but also trying to clear some room in midfield so that you can bring in, definitely three, but looking at four, maybe even five fairly premium players in your midfield and attack. So being able to fit in Aguero, Sterling, Salah, or Aguero with Son, De Bruyne, and maybe Salah or Mane, something like that. That's the whole idea here. Starting out, obviously the top one is going to be Lundstram. 32 points is the most for all of defenders, and at 4.4, you really can't beat that value. Hopefully he's able to continue with this form, but just looking at some of the things, I should also say that these are players that need to have a minimum of at least 4 appearances so far. But Lundstram already has 5 chances created, 4 big chances created, has 90 passes in the final third, 127 touches in the final third. So he's really getting forward, creating a lot of chances up front. And like I said before, already has 2 double point hauls this season, and looks like he is planning to. He's set to continue to play. I also feel like he's a player that's almost fixture proof because of some of his underlying statistics and the way Sheffield United have been playing. They really do get forward. He is going to create chances. Has a good, decent threat. His influence is fairly high as well. Bonus points, kind of middle of the road there. And isn't always going to pick up bonus, the full 3, but has in the double point haul weeks, that is where he has picked up all 3 of the bonuses. Next up is looking at West Ham's defense. They have really outperformed their XG this season, which is somewhat concerning, and I don't know how their midweek match is going to affect them going forward. But the player that I picked here, I know there's Fredericks. I know he's listed as a doubt. Diop is also a good choice there. He's even under 5% ownership at 4.5. But the one that I'm going with is Masuaku. Has only played in 4 matches so far, so he does fit that criteria. They do have relatively decent fixtures as well, but the things to look at here, he has 18 points out of the 4 matches that he's played in, which is that's very good. 1% ownership adds to that. 2 big chances created out of 4 chances total. 62 touches in the final third. So he's another player that is getting forward and creating chances. Now, if West Ham can really get some goals, Bournemouth, Crystal Palace don't have the greatest defenses. Sheffield United, Newcastle, even Everton, they don't have, great defenses. So good chance to get some points with Masuaku. The last one here is a Brighton defender, and Dunk doesn't really fit my criteria of being under 4.5. Same thing, Montoya does, Stevens does, but the one I'm going with here is Dan Burn. I'd say he's really flying under the radar, 0.2% ownership. I think with any Brighton defender, it's going to be very fixture heavy. So maybe not bring him in this week unless you really need to create space and bring somebody in. But Aston Villa, Everton, Norwich, not bad fixtures coming up there, so it might be a good time to look at him. So 17 points so far this season. He is playing consistently, so 90 minutes. That's compared to Montoya, who did sit out the match against Burnley. So he is playing very consistently. And in his time playing, he has 32 passes in the final third, 92 touches in the final third, and he even has 6 penalty area touches, which is interesting just in the fact that he is getting up in there, creating some chances. Like I said, he's one of those flying under the radar sort of players where definitely a solid differential. He could be a player that sets you apart from other players, particularly in your mini leagues. A lot of people are going with Dunk, 10% ownership. Even Montoya is a good differential with 0.7% ownership, but Burn is the one that I was taking a look at there. All right, moving on to midfielders. Starting out here, the most expensive one is McGinn here at 5.7. Already has a total of 30 points, which is very, that's decent, especially for a player from Aston Villa. I think he's a solid choice here. Good fixtures coming up until they hit these two against City and Liverpool. And then this is one definitely keep an eye on him for December. So some of his underlying statistics here: 30 points already this season, 17 goal attempts, 10 shots shots on target, and 6 of those are in the box. 123 touches in the final third, 2 big chances created. Definitely a solid pick there. So he's kind of my top one. Cantwell is the other one. You can see he's scoring consistently, has good fixtures coming up here. He's one, already at 27% ownership. He's not going to be a differential, but he is going to help create some room. So there are several others here. Yarmolenko is an interesting one. 11 points against Manchester United from his goal, and then also keeping a clean sheet. So as a midfielder, he is playing very far forward. He's more of a pass the eye test sort of player for me. I apologize, I did not go through and pick out all of his statistics. Then he was the one that I kind of did not get all of what I was looking for with him. But 24 points already this season. Decent threat index here at 116, 1% ownership, and at 5.9 is just under that price tag there. I think he's definitely one to keep an eye on. Or if you're really ready to pull the trigger, bring him in. Bournemouth have been leaking goals. Crystal Palace haven't been, great. Sheffield United, Newcastle, Burnley, all of these teams are leaking goals this season. So I think this is a good time to really bring him in if you want to create some space there. All right, last one, forwards here. I think I'll start out with Neil Maupay here. This season already 21 points he has 17 goal attempts with 16 shots in the box. 76 touches in the final third. All great statistics as far as underlying stats go. 2 goals already scored this season. The clean sheets are, whatever. You get a clean sheet as a forward, great. But not really the main thing. It's not really going to add a whole lot to his game. So yeah, Neil Maupay is the first one here. 0.6% ownership means he has an excellent differential, particularly looking at mini leagues. Brighton's fixtures, now this is one you want to pick him now and hold on to him, sit him on your bench, fine. But he's one to think about for game weeks 9 through 11. So if you're planning to use a wild card here after game week 8 for an international break, he might be one to consider bringing in there. Next up, I have Joelinton. So 5.9 is just under that cutoff point of 6. 1% ownership is more than Neil Maupay. And again, he's another one maybe taking a look at here for after game week 9. Against Leicester could be a tough one. Now, he's an interesting one just because, 17 points. He has 13 goal attempts, 11 shots in the box, and 91 touches in the final third. So fairly decent underlying statistics there. But again, not really scoring a whole lot of goals, which is a bigger issue for him. I would say between the two, Maupay is probably the better one. Joelinton is one to kind of hang on to. Just keep an eye on him, see how things are going to shake out in the future. The top one that I have here is right at the edge is 6.0, 1.8% ownership. He has 2 goals already this season, so he has, I guess, tied for the most goals with Maupay. Let's see, 24 points already is, top for the 6.0 price bracket. 7 shots on target, 9 shots in the box, 24 penalty area touches out of a total of 166 touches, and 11 goal attempts as well. So overall, he is looking really good as far as the biggest attacking threat for Aston Villa. Good fixtures coming up. He might be one that you bring in for these 3 fixtures and then swap over. I believe that's about the time that Maupay comes into play. So it could be one to kind of, if you're able to swap back and forth between Wesley and Maupay as far as their fixtures go. So yeah, I think that's where I'm going to wrap it up there. I do have one final kind of honorable mention with Gerard Deulofeu. He is, I would say, an anomaly this season. Only 14 points, and at 6.2 is above that 6.0 price bracket. He doesn't have any goals, but all of his underlying statistics point to him that he should be getting more than he has been. So 14 points. He already has 18 goal attempts, 11 shots in the box, 178 touches in the final third, and 37 touches in the penalty area. 2 big chances created. I mean, all of these underlying statistics, when you look at him, show that he should be scoring more points, but for some reason, his best week has been the 7 points here, and outside of that, hasn't really done a whole lot. Watford just, I don't know what it is. They're not playing to their potential. They have guys like Deulofeu that should be doing well, and for some reason, their whole team is just kind of failing. Sheffield, the other part too is even their fixtures. You get to November, maybe look at bringing him in, see how he's doing by that point. But I feel like at 6.2, it's just a little too much when you can get better statistics out of guys like, better points from guys like Maupay, even Wood, even Jota. I think I'd even rather have, King than Deulofeu, just because King is at least on penalties. But Wesley is definitely a better choice than Deulofeu right now, despite all of those underlying statistics. Okay, so I guess the next place to go is captaincy picks. The article on here is saying trust Aguero. I think Aguero is probably the top choice for captaincy. It's a little bit of a toss-up between Aguero and De Bruyne. De Bruyne has a good chance to get, 17 points last week. Captaincy pick, he would be great. Not sure that he's necessarily going to get the 1 goal, 2 assists this week against Everton, but it is Everton, you never know. Great fixtures coming up for De Bruyne and City as well. Good time to have 3 City players if you can fit them in. Sterling might be another one to look at. Let's see, just want to look something up here real quick. Salah against... Sorry, just thinking. Salah against Sheffield United might be a good one. Same thing with Mane. Aubameyang is, not doing terribly this season, and against United, that's a good, strong possibility of goals there for him. Kane or Son. Son's a good differential against Southampton. But I think Aguero is probably the best option for this week. Just wanted to take a look. I did not get a chance to look at who played in their midweek match. That might make a difference. Sterling did play, so Aguero did not, which kind of adds to his adds to him being probably the best choice for a captain pick for this week. Looks like De Bruyne got himself rest in the midweek, so it's a little bit. I don't know. That puts me a little bit on edge with Sterling. Did get a goal and an assist, so that's a positive. He was subbed, so he didn't play the full 90, but that's a bit of a tough one now for me. Whether I want to captain Sterling or Salah for this week. So anyway, I think that Aguero is probably your best bet as far as captain picks go for this week, having not played in midweek already, just really pouring on the goals. So yeah. All right, well, that's where I'm going to leave it for Game Week 7 tips. Let me know below, do you have any enablers that you would recommend for your team? Particularly as a great way to bring in the likes of Aguero into your side. So if you have anybody that you are recommending, let me know down below. And I think that's going to wrap it up. As always, wish you good luck and have fun.